Thanks for staying with us. So we started a conversation concerning boarding schools, and the businessman Wale Jana advised parents against sending their children to either only boys or only girls school, or generally boarding schools. According to him, he was sharing a story of how a senior in an all-boys school at the time allegedly sexually assaulted him constantly, and also assaulted, no, not him, assaulted junior boys. Yes, let me correct that. So allegedly sexually assaulted junior boys. In his opinion, attending same-sex schools can cause more damage than good. And furthermore, many have also said that sending your children to boarding houses is no longer the best option. You'd rather have your children stay at home because of all the various vices that we're seeing today. Now, our question, therefore, is, do you agree that it is it's the values we're exposed to in boarding houses can still be achieved in today's times? Or do you think times have changed? Keep your children in the house. What are your thoughts? Call us on 081-270-535687, 091-390-76948. You can also send us messages throughout the show, and we'll be happy to read your messages. Please, the numbers will continually be scrolled on the screen, and they will take it from YouTube and Facebook. Right, so, ladies, now, Wale Jana's perspective was same-sex schools. I mean, that's also worth talking about. But I want us to focus more on the option of boarding houses, because I went to a boarding house and I proudly went there because I learned a lot of things. I learned how to lay my bed on time. I learned how to bath, to manage my time, manage my resources. Because you have to give accounts of what you're giving at the beginning of the term, how you used it at the end of the term, So it was very, very beneficial to me as an adult. So today, I would like my child to go to a boarding house, but when I hear of all sorts of abuses or exposures, and I'm thinking, can I trust another adult to supervise my child the way I would have? And that's really the question. Yes.
I think there are two issues here. So the same-sex school, I wouldn't encourage that for children these days. I went to an all-girls school, but I wasn't in the hostel. I was a day student, and I knew some of the experience that those people in the hostel had, that they would come and relate in class. Some were interesting, some were scary, but it wasn't all that at the time. But one of the reasons I wouldn't like a same-sex school is because I feel that when children are released into school, it's like a mini society where they are built to be able to navigate the real society when they graduate. And so in the real society, we don't have just all girls banks, all girls churches, all girls marketplaces. We have a mix of all the sexes. And if they are not able to learn how to communicate, how to handle issues, how to start, because even at that time, we parents, we like to close our eyes to everything that's happening in school. So in your mind, my child is going to school just to get the education, but they will still go to school and learn how to toast a babe. If that is taken away from them, I really do not know how they will balance. That's my own thinking. Okay. Yeah, but on the second issue of boarding or not, for me, I think it's about the personality of the child. So I had 2 children go into the boarding house. The first child did not give me an issue whatsoever. She blended in. She was fantastic. She's naturally independent. And she was able to, know who she was in just a few months into the system. But when I sent the bobo of the house, I don't even want to narrate on TV what we went through, having to convince him to even stay and pay attention in class, having to manage his emotions, having to manage the teachers handling him. I was like, no, I don't think my son is ready to be released. So I think we need to understand our children and find out what works for them. One of the reasons I like boarding house, like you said, is about organization. When I look at my husband, he's very meticulous. He knows how to organize his things, and I don't know how to lay my bed. That doesn't mean you won't succeed in life. Let's just get it. But there were some things I wish I knew how to do. When I come to a Miriam space and everything is just, if Miriam comes to my house, she will rearrange my sitting room like 15 times before she leaves. I see all of that, admire it, but it's not my strength. And I feel if I had gone to a boarding house, maybe I would have learned to be better organized. So it's still about the personality of the children.
Thoughts on this? So there are 2 issues, the same-sex and then the boarding day school.
Okay, so I went to a same-sex school as well, and I would just disagree with BC a bit on what some of the things she says may be the failures of the same-sex school. you're allowed to interact with boys, but on special occasions. So we had late days and things like that would come. And then they would send letters, you know, and these letters would go through the school. It was much more, the school was part of making sure, you know, you were getting normal, sane letters. So there were times where you would interact. But for me, I left a same-sex secondary school to a university where the hostel were only girls. Right. So boys were not allowed to come in. So the one thing I think that was a problem was, because my grandma used to shout, was I would come out of the bathroom, I would just be walking around. She'd be like, oh, what is happening? And then my auntie would say, she's used to just being with girls. She does not realize that, you know, so we don't have to cover up. I had a friend who came to visit one time too at the hostel. She was like, oh, all of you just moving around like this. Are you not afraid? But we don't have that. So there's that. But for me, I would like my children to go to a mixed school, because for me, I found that it was a bit more difficult to interact with boys. And I don't know if it was just because of being in the same-sex school or because also of my personality. I was quite shy and things like that. So I would like that to happen. But what's most important for me about schools is not about whether it's same-sex or not. Is the age of that child that is going to the school and the personality of the child going to school. Some people have gone to same-sex schools, boarding schools, and they have done so well, and they have flourished, and they thrive. But there are some people who could not stand it. Even when I went, there were some children who had to be taken out. It's important for our children to grow a bit, to mature a bit before you put them in situations like that. Also, I want to encourage children, which is something that I started doing recently, where my children are interacting with neighborhood kids. So we are not taking your child from just that protective space in your house straight into a place where they now all of a sudden have to learn these skills. So they are practicing the skills at home, and you're watching them and correcting them as they are, you know, navigating friendships in the area before they go to school. So those are the things that are important. Now, this particular tweet mentioned like
abuse, sexual abuse.
Sexual abuse. So sexual abuse happens in same-sex schools as well as mixed schools. And that is why it's important that your child is old enough to be able to understand that this is abuse coming to me and I should run away from it and report it. Some children may not have been taught from when they were at home or in primary school what the signs are of someone trying to abuse you, and they think that they have to be quiet because a senior has told them that.
I want us to touch on that a bit later, because I wanted to hear your thoughts first on this issue of same-sex or boarding house. Then we'll come to the issue of the abuse and how we can manage as parents. Yeah.
So I went to a mixed school, and I think it worked for me because of my already very religious background where everybody was separated. So we didn't have mixed in my house. The girls' room was clear, the boys' room was clear. And there was no mixing. You can't be visiting as a boy and be found wandering in the inner area of my house. So in the school, then it was okay to have, sometimes you find yourself sitting with a boy. But the school, at some point, I particularly would say, please go and find another place. So for me, watching my children and reading all that I read every day on the news, I'm scared about if something were to happen, even though I've raised my children to speak. If something happens and my child so what happened to the woman, the Akwa Ibom woman's case? Such a situation where the child now loses the will to talk to their parents, or the deed had already been done, the damage is done, you're working. I don't want to ever face that. So that's for me. It's not like there are no good boarding schools, but that's why I'm thinking no boarding school for my children. And because these things happen unabated for long, a school period is a 12-week period. Within a 48, 72 hours period, something damaging, lifetime damaging can happen. That's the fear. But when you talk about raising your children mature enough, you know the child who can go.
Yes.
Among my two children, I'm not doubting, because the other one has gotten used. She's independent. She can survive anywhere. Even this weekend boarding has made her more mature. I'm impressed by her work, her academics, and everything. But I'm looking at the other one that is over-dependent. I think you should go to boarding school. Somebody should shake
baby now.
No, I'm just thinking. If it continues like this.
Let me go on a break, because as Mariam had said earlier, the tweet also talked about sexual abuse. And these abuses happen, especially when the children are so tender. And we know we've discussed sexual abuse in schools so many times on this show, but it's a situation whereby your child goes to boarding houses and you are depending and expecting that the caregivers there will pay attention and hope to help you to stop this and nip it in the bud. We'll come back when we talk. We'll come back and continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still talking about this issue of boarding house versus day school. And someone has raised the issue of sexual abuse. And one thing I think BC had said that regardless of which school, either boarding or day, sexual abuse is still possible. Now, the question is, as parents, you equip your child to speak. You equip your child to know what to do. But you go into a school system where you have what they call them seniors. You have you're hushed. You know, you're told that these are the rules and regulations. You cannot do this. You have to obey this person. And then this person, not just sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse, there are different kinds of abuse that traumatizes a child. So what are the signs? How do you know? Because from Wale Jana's tweet, boys were continuously abused.
In school.
I mean, today we're saying, oh, we have this whole community of same sex here and there, but it could have started from this. Well, I don't want us to focus on that now, but how do we as parents help these children? We've sent them out to the world. We've equipped them. They can speak up, but they get into a school system that doesn't allow them to express themselves. How?
Okay, so for a deliberate parent, there's a level of care that you can give to your children that no other person can give to that child. I'm talking about people who are deliberate about parenting, people who understand how to observe their children, how to listen to their children, how to pick up signs of what the kids are not saying. Because sometimes they're going through things and they're not really speaking to you, but you can tell as a mother, you can tell as a father that something is not right. This is not how my son usually is, you know. But when it comes to the school system, I also realize that I think we expect too much from some of these teachers and some of these house parents. They too are coming from their own background with their own baggages, and they always tend to assume that all the children are the same and they handle them the same way. So I have an issue that happens and my son goes to report to the house parent, this is what this senior has said to me, and they say, don't worry, he was playing. And then they come back again and they'll tell me this is what this person has said. And when I weigh those words, they are very heavy, very emotionally damaging words that me at home, I don't use such words on my children. I don't even use it on adults. So, and I'm wondering, and I felt that this was a school that would have helped mold my child. So what if this was a physical abuse? Is that how they would have ignored it and said, don't worry, he was joking, and keep it till I come? So I have this policy where I speak to my children every week and I ask them questions and I go back to the house parents and I'm expecting that it's okay, this week, oh, this is what happened and that's that. You don't get anything till the end of the term, and then I'm hearing things and I'm like, but you people had an opportunity, you were speaking to me every week, why didn't you tell me? So for a child who is naturally curious, the burden is not the best place.
See, I don't want to wait to pick up signs. I want to prevent it. I don't even want to let the child go through it and start saying, okay, he's quiet, he's not doing this. That's too late.
You can't help everything. We want to protect them from the world. You know, there's this thing happening recently. My daughter and one of my neighborhood friends seem to keep clashing.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking of maybe taking her, you know, just reducing the time that they are in contact. And my husband says, no, let's have face and let her learn how to resolve it. So that's what we need to do. But the thing is, I think we need to create small mock situations for them so that we see how they handle it. You know, there was something you shared with us one time about your first daughter, how she addressed somebody that was rude and warned and went to the parents and reported. For me, I felt you should be proud of that. You know that when she finds herself outside home, that is exactly how she would carry herself. So we cannot protect them from everything. And that's why, you know, that's why Africans and Nigerians, we pray. You know, that when they finally go out there, no evil eye shall see them. So that's it. But we just strengthen them.
It's about the lesser evil. So some mothers have to work. Yesterday, my husband was like, Nima, you're not doing enough for these children. I was looking at him like, have I ever asked you not to go to work? So, you know, I came home late yesterday for traffic, not because I didn't leave where I had to leave early. But then that's the reality of some parents. Finding their lives and, you know, having families, they have to do both. they can't give up one for the other. Some don't even have the luxury of giving up one. You dare it is to not even give life to the children at all, not to give them comfortable upbringing. So you now choose. Maybe the evil at home, maybe it's a family member who is living with you at home. For women who don't have voices, where they have a relative living with them and the relative is an abuser. And you have spotted it, but if you gather a family, come and say, you are the divider. The family that I have been struggling to unite, the family that I have been raising all my life, you came outside that woman to come and divide it just because you spotted the truth and you decided to say. So you then have to decide how you want to protect your children. So which one is the lesser evil? You know, if you take them to boarding school, you're not comfortable.
I would drive
but if you leave them at home, you will run mad entirely. So it's one you will choose. So some.
I think I've shared this story with you guys before. Not too long ago, I took my kids out. Myself and my husband took our kids out to a party, and they met new friends there for the very first time. And I was happy for them because I wanted them to just go out of our area, circle, and just meet people now. And they got there, and these kids were using unprintable words of my children. I think I shared the words with you.
Yes.
I can't even say it on TV. At the event, it was somebody's birthday party. The kids were upstairs doing their thing. My son kept coming downstairs telling me, this happened. This person said this about me. I said, don't worry. I tried to dismiss it, because it was a party and I didn't want to make a fuss. He kept going back and coming back and telling me, this same boy, he mentioned the name, Mommy, that is the boy. He said this to me. I said, don't worry, we'll be leaving soon. So in the car, I didn't do anything about it. I was going to discuss with them later. They now mentioned it to my husband. Oh, he was livid. He said, why didn't you tell me at that party? I would have told the father. I would have gone to meet the father. Is this why you're training your children? Because the truth is that at some point, you don't know who your child is going to meet. So I can't be fighting another parent.
No.
I must equip my son to be able to tell. So at that moment, we have to equip our children. And listen, there are these different kinds of people out there. You will just know how to say, that's their own map of the world. Your own world is... You love people, you share good, you talk nicely to people. That's very, so we try to counsel him, but I wish I could have done more at that moment. So that was the lesson, that at that point, should I as a parent have fixed it and not wait to get to the house?
No, you don't even have to do fist off. You don't have to exchange anything. But the moment if it's for your child,
should I have called the child?
The lesson is for your child, not for them.
Okay.
Because they are who they are, they can't be changed. And those children obviously did not learn those, they were not born with it.
They picked it
off the conversations at home. So your own is at the point, the first time your child tells you, maybe you calm down the first time, maybe as a child, you think they're just children. But if you repeat it twice, you say, okay, because of this, let's leave. So that your child knows whenever such a rubbish is happening, you can take yourself out. And that's the lesson.
Okay.
You have a call?
Yes, I have a call. I'll come to you. Chidi, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning, Morning.
Morning, you're live. Go ahead, please.
And the table of panelists there. I personally, I would want my children to attend a boarding school, either for the girls and for the boys. Now, my mother was a teacher who rose to the rank of a principal. And all my siblings, we went to boarding schools for the girls, for the boys. And I think the problem there is, what kind of teachers, supervisors, housekeepers do we have?
Yeah.
Because I know in most mission schools, they monitor you bomber to bomber, follow. In fact, it's like they remote what is going on in the boarding school. They know. And when you look at children, people that went to boarding school, maybe for the girls, for the boys, you can see the level of responsibility. They are very responsible. They are outspoken. They will tell you one-on-one, see, what you are doing to me, I don't like it. And it has nothing to do whether it's girls' school, but the point is that children learn more when they are in the boarding school. They mix with their peers, they discuss.
All right, thank you very much, Chidi. That's a good point, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say that sometimes we don't really know our children. We assume we know. We assume that because I'm always preaching, I'm always telling them, don't do this, this is bad, this is this, they are taking it. We assume that it's entering. Sometimes we forget that they still have a choice to either take what we're teaching them or not. And how do you tell? How can you tell that what you are teaching your children is getting into their system? Is by the time they go outside and how they're able to represent everything that they have been taught. By the time they're able to show the values that you have given to them. So in your mind, I'm doing all that I can, because you hear some parents say, I have done everything. I give these children everything. I give them my time. I give them my days. I give them my body. They will go outside and they will embarrass me. It's because we have not taken time to put them to a test. So I like what you're doing, where you're creating mock situations to hear how they can, see how they can handle situations, hear how they talk to their people, because you may have a different personality from that child. And how you resolve issues, she sees it, she likes it. They said, what's the foundation? Or not. She may not like it. She may feel that you're somebody that people can easily cheat. And she doesn't like it, and she doesn't want to be that way. But you wouldn't know except you put them in those situations. So it's okay for us to have little groups. It's okay for us to push them out. I was happy with the experiences that my son had in the boarding. It wasn't favorable to him or to me, but it opened my eyes to certain things that I could have been blinded. I mean, assuming that he's like the sister. You know, I was able to, whoa.
You're different.
Who you are. My son. I was scared because I see a lot of me in him. Yeah. I used to be very curious. And my husband said, this is you. This attitude is you. I was like, whoa. So when I now brought him back home, I knew the things I needed to handle, and I'm getting on it. It's not easy being a parent.
It's all right. I have to go on a break, you know, but you know, it's just seizing the moment to change or seizing the moment to teach. Is how do you appreciate that moment? And how do you even know it's a moment to teach? When we come back to continue this conversation and take more calls. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So, moving on to the issue, I think in the last caller I was talking about how teachable moments, and then the caller was saying in schools, even that we have to ensure that those people who are caring for our children are paying attention. And I would have loved to start with BC because that's our area. But how, as parents, have you seen where your child complains in school, and how do you help your child get over, or how do you even manage it with the school authorities?
I've caught the school napping a few times on my child, and I didn't like it at all. I've confronted, I've publicly raised my voice. I even attempted to slap somebody because I think this is your job, you should know. Don't tell me, sorry, you were busy with it. Because, of course, you'll be busy with every child, but your job is to have knowledge of all the children within your watch. And because of that fear, people are people. Those days, I don't know how those teachers did it. I don't know how.
But there was sexual abuse back then.
No. I went to an all-girl primary school. There was no such thing.
How about secondary school?
I'm certain. Because I remember from primary 2, my experiences in school. I used to run.
Secondary school?
I used to be an athlete in primary school, and I was very healthy.
Secondary school?
Afterwards. Secondary school, overweight worried me. But we saw
you may not know everything.
It was by choice. Sexual abuse was by choice. There were attempts on me, and I'll get home, I'll talk to my mom, and she'll be like, this kind of play is not a play. So that when next time the person does it, well, I was able to...
Let me Dr. Moya. I'll come to you, Mara. Dr. Moya, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. You're live, please.
Yes. You can only protect your children at secondary school level, not at university. You cannot follow them to school, university, and say, why are you bullying my daughter or my son? I was a victim of abuse, not sexual abuse too. There are other forms of abuse, bullying, emotional abuse. For example, I was the youngest in my hostel, in my room, and we were about 6 people. They were bullying me, like just pouring water on my bed when I lay in bed, when I'm out of hostel for lectures. I was scared of sleeping. I was scared of going to the hostel. It traumatized me down to my 20s that even when I was in my parents' house or at home, I'm scared of adults. I think that every adult wants to hurt me. It's only my parents that love me. And when I tried speaking to my parents, they were like, Olenia, you don't want to go back to school. It's a lie. You are just giving flimsy excuse because you don't want to go to school. My grades dropped because I was always, anytime I read, I was always having this flashback of my senior trying to hurt me. So you have to emotionally equip them at the level of secondary school because they'll go to university, NYSC. And they will sleep in the hostel too with different categories of people from different universities.
Thank you so much, Dr. Muya, for sharing that.
You know, now that she was sharing her own, I remember some things. Yes, bullying, emotional abuse by seniors. So one thing I would like to, advocate is we should remove that seniors having almost this power over the juniors in schools, because those teenagers, they are bubbling with, this newfound power, and they want to show these junior ones who is captain in this place, and they can overdo it sometimes. And because of the way it works, you're afraid to report, because it would mean that when we go back at the end of school time and we go back to the hostel, you'll be in even bigger trouble. So that one has to be, cancelled. I remember once when I remember one time in my school, my secondary school, where the principal had to make it, she made like a rule that there's some punishments that a senior cannot give you. So yes, you may be able to wash plates and do things, but to ask you to kneel down, even for some teachers were not allowed to punish you for too long, ask you to kneel down for too long, because some people would take that and run with it. Bullying used to happen a lot. Yeah. But then another part of that sexual abuse, it didn't happen to me personally, but I heard about it. There was a name, I'm sure people that went to St. Louis will know, where do you say, my kus? So it was a girl-to-girl relationship. Wow. But it was supposed to be a relationship of I just really like this person. Usually it's the senior girl with a younger...
School mother-ish, sort of.
A school mother is different from a kus.
Wow.
A kus is just a senior person that likes a junior.
That is dating the junior.
Not dating. So it was not supposed to be dating. Okay. It was supposed to be that I just really liked you. So when I would have something really beautiful, I'll get you gifts and things like that. And sometimes it blurred the line. Some people said it went ahead as, some of them getting physical. But no, that situation is bound to happen, of course, because it's an all-girls school. So maybe that relationship that they were supposed to be experiencing with a boy, they're now experiencing with a girl. But as we said, I don't know what you tell your child at home to prepare them for that. What do you do? So the only thing is you hope that your child comes back to tell you something.
What is happening.
That's where I really want us to go. Let me go to Grace. Grace, are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Maura.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
And good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, the issue of boarding school and girls and the boys, this is a very crucial matter to discuss. I have two in the boarding now, but my advice to every parent is they should not allow their children maybe at the age of 9, 10, 11 to go to boarding school. They should allow them to get to maybe 15. Let's say 13, 14, 15, so that they can be able to take care of their emotions. I have two already, then SSC, they're writing for now, but I know what I passed through on them. Especially these are our hostel mistresses. What they do to them in the hostel is terrible. And if they cannot stand up, they are going to say, Mom or Uncle or whatever they call them there, that I cannot afford this, I cannot take this. It's a problem.
Thank you.
Especially in our government schools. In our government schools.
Thank you so much, Grace.
I wanted to quickly disagree with Miriam on the moving of the senior and junior. There's always going to be senior and junior. What failed, what didn't fail in my own secondary school at the time was the teachers did not delegate their duties of guiding us to the seniors. The seniors were guided constantly on their responsibilities to protect the juniors. It was something that was important. You would see some excesses from some seniors who want to double there. If they tell you double, it's like you have to run like your life is on.
Military school.
I went to a military school, so you know all those kind of things. But we had seniors, and I grew up because I saw Senior Giwa. I hope she's still somewhere now watching. To protect me once when I was abused in JS2. And by the time I got to senior, I was still short like this. If you were punishing a junior unjustly, you have to justify it to me once I see it. You know, and that's how you protect a junior and you set the example for her. Seniors,
in my school, I'll never forget our principal, Mrs. Olayemi. I mean, she's retiring very soon. We were the first set. So we didn't have seniors. So we're itching to get the juniors to come and punish them. Yes, all this fetching water and washing they were doing. They will come. And when they entered, my entire set, we started picking, okay, this is my own, that's your own. You know, we started sharing them around and trying to exert our authority. Mr. Olayemi quickly came and cut it off immediately. There's nobody, there's no senior, junior here. Everybody here paid to school, and she put rules.
The same amount.
Everybody fetch your own water. Wash your own clothes. Everybody, there are rules and regulations. There was a cane master. If there's an issue, you are reporting. The cane master assesses that, okay, this thing, we can cane you. You know, but you don't have that freedom
to do anyhow.
So that's culture of seniority.
Yes. So I think
in public schools and even in private schools,
teachers delegating their duties to the seniors. So you have to...
Not necessarily. Within the hostel,
human nature.
They have the duty to discipline a junior, maybe who has done wrong. And you don't take that junior. Like the case of that Akwa Ibom one again. I'm going to put the child in the hands of some set of seniors in the hostel, take him from his class hostel to another senior hostel. You deliberately wanted him to be punished. If you think he did something you wanted to address, you address it. Teachers got lazy at that. That's
no, Nima, you're not getting the point. Let me come take Buki and I'll come back to you. Buki, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. So I went to a single girls' school, my sisters and I. And I have vowed that none of my kids will go to a single-sex school. Because my sister, you know, being in a single-sex school, we had the option of wearing kaftans. And most of the girls liked it because they felt like boys in it. And I think that was what motivated my sister to dress the way she does till today, almost in her 40s. It's something that my mom has battled with, and it's still very sad. Because now it has shaped her into what people would call lesbian. You know, so I believe that played a major role to her. And even what I noticed in school, girls that acted that way, dressed like boys with the kaftans and everything, had like partners. And to them it was cool. You know, and it was normal. So I would not advise or encourage any child going to single-sex schools, especially with the way the world is right now.
Thank you very much, Buki.
Yeah, I wanted to say in this seniority issue that the idea was to prepare seniors for leadership roles. So as they get older, they're able to, you know, take care of the younger ones. They're able to assert leadership, you know, opportunities. They're able to handle leadership.
Yes.
They're able to show by example, mentor the younger ones. But along the line, we missed it, just like human nature.
Yes.
And the teachers who were supposed to take responsibility for the seniors now allowed them to do it how they want, without proper supervision. Yes. So you are not supposed, as a student, to punish another student. They are paying the same fees. You are not supposed to do that. But you can point out that you have done this, I've done that, and I'm taking you to the teacher, because you need to get a punishment for this. But I wanted to talk about the issue of the sort of house parents or teachers that we leave our children with. I understand that a lot of schools struggle to really train their teachers, but I believe that every teacher or every house parent who is handling children must go through child psychology regularly. Because what I see is they use this one-size-fits-all approach for every child. I had reports of, I go and report this and they say, I'll handle it. I'll go and report this one again, I'll handle it. I'll handle it till the end of term. Nothing has been done. So if we constantly train our teachers and our house parents to understand that these children will come with their different peculiarities, just the way we say in the classroom, you must have differentiation learning. You should have differentiation care for the children. It's a lot of work on the teachers, but you need to try and pay them well so that they can handle these children. So if we can get that sorted and ensure that we have a guidance counselor in the hostels who the children can approach and table issues to. Most of the schools, they will tell you, when you go to school to find out about admissions for your children, they put their best foot forward. They won't show you all their inefficiencies. But when you're now in the school 1 year, 2 years, you're now beginning to see that these people are not really paying attention to certain things. And I also observe, because you were asking, how do we know the right schools? I also observe how the school owners and the principals handle issues when you bring it to them. So some people just run to start defending their teachers, and they wouldn't even go through what you have said and, give a track record. There are some schools that are known to, I'm not saying sack the teachers, I'm saying show that you're involved. If the teacher is actually wrong after investigation, show the disciplinary measures that teacher is going through. But when you come and once they report, you say, no, in our school, we don't need to do this kind of thing. In our school, we don't need to do that. It discourages parents.
Let me take this call. Buki, are you there?
Hello? Yeah.
Okay, yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. So, well, credit comes in short supply for me, but I want to give you ladies a lot of credit.
Oh, thank you,
You are
Tosi.
a breed of intelligent ladies.
Thank you.
Honestly, I've never seen such a set of people who are so vast. So I'm giving you that credit.
Thank you, Tosi. Appreciate
You're welcome. Now, I went to a federal government college. Well, I went through, being a junior and being a senior. One thing I did, perhaps by my training, you see, when I got to the senior level, the juniors loved me. They didn't fear me. I fetched water for them. They fetched water for me. But you see, in my junior level, there was this daughter of a very prominent person who was always terrorizing me. But I didn't take that back when I got to I didn't take that on the juniors when I got there. Yeah. When I got to the senior level by virtue of my upbringing and character. Yeah. Now, my children went to private secondary schools. And looking back at the third one in junior class now, I think the training that you give to them from home goes a long way. I am so grateful to that my two of them are in university now, and they weren't bullies.
Right.
I had the confidence of sending them to boarding school because I came out the better for it, having gone to.
Right.
Issue of bullying, I'm trying to say many things now. The issue of bullying, I think it still rests with the school authority.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember there was but before I make this point, I'd like to say, you see, the boarding school has become a place for certain parents to just dump a very troubled children. I remember a case in point. A senior literally poured out my daughter's milk can. Put more than half. And these children, by reason of their upbringing, and by what they tell them at school, they can't go and report. But I was getting a showdown with.
It's breaking.
Oh, we lost our call. Yes, Miriam, we're going to wrap up on this very soon. Yes. I think it's important for us to, it's not a conversation we can end, obviously, but the concerns are, should we continue to allow children to go to boarding schools, especially when we're not completely sure on the caregivers, on the various people that are supposed to supervise and check on these children, when there's bullying involved and when there's sexual abuse and all types of abuse involved. That's the question, and I would like you to just share your thoughts as we wrap up on this. Nima, let me start with you. Yes, please.
We have some cheers. Daisy says, I was a tomboy to a point, but never liked boys or girls. I liked the girls as friends growing up in Nigeria, and I did not know much about same-sex until I got to the U.S. Toyin Babalola says, that is not leadership roles. It is teaching them abuse. A lot of these house parents are not skilled or trained properly. Good Biz says, most of my friends went to boarding school, were a bit not street-wise. Those that went to boarding school were not street-wise. And the women are just shy.
Okay, not.
Truth.
Not,
I mean,
okay.
Yes. So for me, what I've learned, just discussing this and hearing our callers is, boarding school is not a place where you just drop your child for other people to
train.
You have to be involved with your child, even in that boarding school. You need to make out times for that visiting, the calls. When you do not train your child and you leave it to someone else to train, whatever you get, that's what happens. Whatever you see, you get. And where you have, I think I've shared with you that I think that children should be placed in schools based on their personalities. It shouldn't be because everyone is going there. And also age. See, I have a 10-year-old who needs to mature. Mature a bit, And so, and my own is not even about the maturity. It's more about telling me what happened. So I have a daughter who will tell you everything, from how the fly landed on this and then everything. And it makes me feel more confident. Not that she may not meet something that, not that it will stop her from maybe experiencing or meeting unfavorable situations, but I would know on time to step in. But I have a son who would let it go, then after some time, say, do you remember when? I'm like, why are you leaving it till this time? So for me, that kind of child, I would not put in a boarding school, at least not in the beginning, maybe until you've reached a certain age and it's a tough class. Okay. But for, you know, we should just make sure that in whatever decision we take, we have to be involved in parenting them still.
Okay, so I think that we should have the tough conversations with our children if we have to ship them off to boarding houses. So which is the conversations we'll be having about there are people who decide that the same sex will have relations. So you tell them about gays, you tell them about the other ones, you tell them everything, give them the terms, let them understand. So that when it comes, the appearance of the evil, when it shows up, they already know that this is abnormal. Mommy has told me this term. I know what you're trying to do, and this is not wise. Sometimes we leave that conversation because we feel it will not happen in that school, or it's not happening around me, or the Holy Spirit is protecting them. And then they go into the school and they're faced with a new reality they never saw before, and they find it difficult to handle it. So if you're going to ship off your kids to the boarding house in secondary school, let them know all the terms, all these evils that we are complaining about on TV that is happening. Talk to them about it. Tell them what you think about it. Get them to understand that it is not what is expected, that it's not normal, so that when it comes, they can share with you that this person tried to touch me in so place and I refused.
I think we can end with that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.